Something just happened in the Middle East that so-called experts told us was impossible. Qatar, one of the wealthiest nations on earth, America's most important military partner in the Gulf, the country that spent years trying to mediate between Iran and the West, has just carried out offensive strikes inside Iran. And they're not alone. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, the entire Gulf is mobilizing as we speak. The Abraham Accords, which began as a diplomatic handshake, have just become a full-blown military alliance. And I'm about to show you why this may be the single most important geopolitical transformation of our lifetime. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you understand this absolutely seismic shift that just happened in the Middle East. With breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else, so you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Senior Western diplomatic sources have confirmed that Qatar has carried out strikes inside Iran over the past 24 hours. Israel's Channel 12 reported it first, and then Qatar's own foreign ministry spokesperson essentially confirmed it. Now, this is in retaliation for what Iran has been doing since Saturday. Iran has launched 3 cruise missiles, 101 ballistic missiles, and 39 suicide drones at Qatari territory. They hit Al Udeid Air Base, the largest American military installation in the entire Middle East, damaging a clinic on the base. They targeted an American early warning radar system. They went after energy facilities in Mes Said and Ras Laffan industrial city, Qatar's lifeblood, halting LNG production. A drone struck a power plant in the industrial area of Doha. Shrapnel from interception rained down across the country, injuring 16 people, one reportedly critically. But then came the moment that really changed everything. Iran tried to hit Hamad International Airport, the main civilian airport in Doha. Nearly 10,000 passengers were stranded. They had to be housed in hotels because airspace was completely shut down. Qatari officials just confirmed that Qatar received no advance warning from Iran for any of this, and that Doha currently has no communication with Tehran whatsoever. Now, that's pretty astonishing given that Qatar has stuck its neck out for Iran, right? Al Jazeera is based in Qatar. They hosted Hamas's political office. They maintain open channels with Tehran. They position themselves as sort of like, the indispensable go-between in every Middle Eastern crisis. But now they've been given no choice but to join in on this war, but on the side of the U.S. and, amazingly, Israel. Something that would have been absolutely unthinkable a short time ago. It's being widely reported that Qatar has indeed struck inside Iran. The specific details of the strike, at least as of the making of this video, have not yet been made public, other than that they were carried out in the last 24 hours. We do have confirmation that Qatar's Air Force shot down 2 Iranian Sukhoi 24 Fencer tactical bombers that were flying toward Qatari airspace, making Qatar, as I understand, the first nation shoot down Iranian aircraft in this conflict. So the Qatari Ministry of Defense did say that the jets were warned before being engaged and were shot down over the waters of the Arabian Gulf. Qatar also intercepted 7 ballistic missiles and 5 drones in the same engagement. Again, just to underscore this, since Saturday, Qatar has faced a staggering total of 3 cruise missiles, 101 ballistic missiles, and 39 suicide drones, all launched at its territory. So it does now look as if Qatar has entered this fight, and it's not just Qatar. In just the first 36 hours, Iran targeted the UAE with 165 missiles and 541 drones, killing 3 and wounding 58. 45 missiles and 9 drones hit Bahrain. 97 missiles and 283 drones hit Kuwait. 13 missiles and 36 drones targeted Jordan. Iranian drones struck the Fairmont Hotel in Dubai, residential buildings in Bahrain, Kuwait International Airport. Dubai's airport, the busiest international airport on the planet, was hit by a drone and had to be shut down since Saturday. Even Oman was attacked. Remember, Oman had been mediating those nuclear talks with Iran. Iran's own foreign minister essentially admitted that they've lost controls. They said that the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard's decision to attack Oman was, quote, not our choice, and that Iran's armed forces are now independent and somewhat isolated. That's diplomatic speak for our communication lines have been severed, and now the entire military infrastructure is fracturing. And so the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC, all 6 nations, that's Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Oman, they held an emergency ministerial meeting, and they invoked Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. For those who don't know, Article 51 is the inherent right of self-defense. So they effectively set red lines and signaled readiness for collective self-defense. The GCC warned that continued strikes would risk transforming the Gulf from a defensive shield into an active theater of response. And so now we're getting reports that Saudi Arabia is preparing to strike Iran very soon. So what's really happening here? What force is really rising up in the Middle East? Well, that is what we're about to find out. And let me tell you, it's something we've never seen before. But first, let's pivot to your health, shall we? Are you familiar with something called cacao? Well, if you're taking yoga classes, your yoga teacher might be having you, sit in a circle to drink it and probably charging you $70 at the same time. And the idea here is that cacao supposedly has all this wonderful cocoa flavonols that boost cardiovascular health and blood flow. Ceremonial cacao has 40 milligrams of flavonols. But this powder that I put in my coffee every morning has 1,200. That's like comparing chuck roast to filet mignon. I mean, there is no comparison. This is pharmaceutically extracted flavonols. No metals, no fat. Put it in your coffee. Put it in your milk. You could cook with it, whatever you want to do. I like putting it in my coffee each morning. And here's Rhonda Patrick, one of the top independent science educators in the world, to show you why.
And those who drank a beverage that had flavonol-rich cocoa in it 3 times a day for 6 months were able to walk 46 yards further in a 6-minute walking test compared to those that drank the placebo beverage. And so it was shown that the improvement in their walking ability was a consequence to increased blood flow in their calves and also improved muscle function. So that was a super interesting study. There was another study that was actually done in young, healthy males that showed that dark chocolate improve their cycling. So basically those that had dark chocolate were able to cycle 17% farther in the same amount of time than those that had the placebo control, which was white chocolate. And the study also showed that they basically didn't need to consume as much oxygen to basically cycle farther as well.
Black forest cocoa flavonols and flavonoids, nitric oxide booster, cardio performance, heart health, all made right here in the USA. This is ceremonial cacao put on steroids. Harvard studied this with 21,000 people and found a 27% reduction in heart attacks. I mean, can't make this stuff up. In fact, I'll put a link to that study in the description so you can check it out yourself. Black Forest just launched their biggest deal of the year, and it's insane. 50% off their best-selling cocoa formula. Available for only the next 48 hours. It ends in 48 hours, so when it's over, it's gone for good, so don't wait. Click on that link below and take control of your health before someone else does it for you. The Abraham Accords brokered by Trump in his first term were always, really always at their core about building a civilizational alliance against the Iranian threat. So Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan, Kazakhstan, and now effectively Saudi Arabia and Qatar. What began in 2020 as diplomatic normalization has just become the most powerful military coalition in the Middle East since the Gulf War of 1991, and arguably even more significant because this time Israel isn't sitting it out. Israel's fighting right alongside the Arab states. By contrast, Iran's strategy was based on really a classical sort of territorial calculation. So they believed that if they hit the Gulf states hard enough, that the Gulf states would panic. They turn on the Americans and demand that Washington stop the strikes. That was Tehran's bet. Pressure the neighbors, fracture the coalition, exploit the fear of economic damage to break the alliance apart. And it backfired. And it didn't just it backfired spectacularly. As one analyst at the Gulf International Forum put it, frankly, perfectly, Iran crossed a dangerous line. The aim may have been to raise tensions in the Gulf to pressure the U.S., but it backfired. And instead, it pushed the Sunni Arab states closer to the U.S. camp in this war. And that is exactly what's happened. Another analyst noted that Iran, in one day, turned the Gulf states from a posture of neutrality to a revived understanding of the threat that Iran poses to the region and to the world. So far from intimidating its neighbors, Iran's attacks have served only to unite the Sunni Arab world to the strategic advantage of the United States and, astonishingly, Israel. But the key here is that these nations have been quietly building this bond for years now through nothing less than the Abraham Accords, through shared intelligence, through joint military coordination, through the new CENTCOM Air and Missile Defense Coordination Cell at Al Udeid that opened just this January. The Gulf Cooperation Council is now reactivating joint air defense systems, launching reconnaissance flights across regional airspace, and coordinating military operations in a way that hasn't been seen in decades. And now Qatar has officially joined this fight, and Saudi Arabia appears to be next. Make no mistake, what we're witnessing is the birth of a new civilizational order in the Middle East. The Abraham Accords are no longer just a diplomatic framework. They are a military reality. A civilizational bloc, the United States, Israel, and the Sunni Arab world, forged in the fire of Iranian aggression, standing together against the last great obstacle to peace and prosperity in the region. By attacking every Gulf state simultaneously, Iran didn't just lose a war. It handed the United States the single most powerful coalition of allies in the history of the modern Middle East on a silver platter. With America as its architect, Israel as its sword, and the Gulf states as its foundation, a new Middle East is rising, and it has MAGA at its very center. Hey gang, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you're signed up for Patriot Alerts, my free daily newsletter and weekly wrap-up. Sign up below.